On this video, we're going to see how we're going to integrate an SDK into your mobile app, and that SDK is going to help you transfer IoT data to the cloud. At the same time, it's going to earn some cryptos. So, welcome to Expertise Academy. First thing before we get into the project, and this project I'm not endorsing it, so this is something technically I found it to be more interesting because it combines that mobile technology, IoT and crypto together. So this is all my favorite topics, and this is actually the project which actually integrates all three together. Let's get into it. And the project that we are talking about is Noodle.io. So that's a project we're talking about it. And the way it works is, like, say, most cases what happens is in a regular IoT world, if you want to transfer an IoT data, let's say we got an IoT device and we want to transfer the data from here, this is basically a BLE device. That means it has got a range. The range will be around somewhere around 20 to 30 meters. And for that range, the user who collects the data from this device have to be within that range. If he goes beyond that range, he will not be able to get the data from this device. So to do that, typically what happens is the companies who use these kind of products, they need to have a sort of like an infrastructure, like a gateway or a Wi-Fi or some sort of an infrastructure which can actually collect the data from these devices and then send it over to the internet, and they can view it anywhere. Now the problem with that is, like, these devices, the Wi-Fi routers or any of these devices, need to authorize these IoT devices to transfer the data. Now the difficult portion that comes up here is, let's say if these devices are on the move and they are not going to be always in the customer location. So now it may be in someone's location. So now there may not be internet connection nearby, but there may be a Wi-Fi connection with the nearby premises. But who's going to go there and give access to this particular device in that particular Wi-Fi router? So now that is a problem with these guys. So now for that, the other choice people use is, like, they can add 4G or 3G module, and then they can send the data through to the cell towers. But the problem with that is then the battery life is going to be pretty much a day or something, and for that we need to keep charging the devices. So now that actually takes the main feature we're talking about in BLE, because BLE devices last for 2 to 3 years with this very simple battery. Now if you add a mobile module, so this is not going to hold enough power to work that longer. Now that is where Noodle.io is going to come and solve some problems. So the way Noodle.io is going to work is, it's basically use mobile phones, because there is plenty of mobile phones. People who carry mobile phones are all around everywhere. So they cover majority of the globe and they provide connectivity. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use these IoT devices, and we're going to use a mobile app that's on this phone, and we're going to connect them, and we're going to send the data from these devices through the mobile phone to the cloud. So that is what exactly going to happen with Noodle.io. Let's take a look at the project. So they do have an iOS and Android app, and they have a separate panel for the developers where you can actually create an account, and you can get the dev keys and public keys and whatnot, and you can integrate with your actual mobile app. So the concept of this one, the way it works is, it's actually a very simple 3-step process. So the first is we are talking about mobile BLE devices, not just BLE. You can talk about any device that can connect to a mobile app. So that is what we're looking at here. So in this case, we're going to take a BLE, which is a Bluetooth Low Energy device, and this device is going to send through data through to the nearby devices. So the nearby devices, if you look at it, each of those users is gonna have a mobile phone. So it's gonna send it to the nearest user who's gonna have a mobile phone. Now from their mobile phone, the data is going to be transferred through the cell towers to the destination. So now for that to happen, for this device to talk to a mobile phone, the user needs to have an app, and that needs to have Noodle.io SDK integrated. Now by default, if you look at it, Noodle has actually given a mobile app for themselves. That's basically, people can install this one on their phone, and what this one does is that, like, this one is like, you can create an account, and every time valid paid data from an IoT device is being transferred to this through this network, and this app is what actually it helps you to do the transfer. And every time you do transfer some of the actual IoT data, you get paid in Noodle Cash. So that's basically a cryptocurrency that you earn by installing this app just on your phone. You don't have to do anything else. And another best part is actually this app. Actually, I did actually integrate this one onto my another app, and I can see actually this one doesn't get any of the other user data. That means it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't actually pinpoint into your precise location. It doesn't take into your account which address you are in and what gender. It doesn't really care about anything about you. All it does is basically just send the data from the BLE device or any of the IoT devices through to the cloud. That's all it does. Now, the concept that we're using is actually, it's called the proof of connectivity. So we know that Bitcoins work on something called proof of work, where GPUs, graphic cards, pretty much everyone cache in and send through some hash values to compete. And that's how proof of work works. And proof of connectivity works in a sort of like a similar fashion, and they pretty much establish connectivity and they get paid for when people use your connection. So that's the concept of proof of connectivity. And the whole idea of this one is like we are creating a sort of like people's network, citizen network. And there are a few other companies who have done something similar, like HNT helium miners and stuff like that. But the problem with that is you need to have specific devices, gateway devices or miners, to actually make use of that network as a miner. So now those devices are in high demand and it's hard to get them, and they are expensive. Whereas with these ones, you can, if you're a mobile developer, you can actually integrate the SDK on your existing app and games, and you can earn some cryptos. So that's pretty cool. So now let's quickly take a look at how we're going to integrate this into an mobile app. So first thing is you need to get a developer account set up, and once you log in, you can actually get the dev keys and stuff like that, which you're going to integrate into your mobile app. And so this can be integrated into any of the mobile app, but be cautious that it is going to request some permissions to be used. Those permissions, let's say if you're integrating into a calculator app, and if it's asking the users to give permission to access the internet and Bluetooth and stuff like that, the user may not be happy. So just remember that. So now if you go to this link here, noodle.-SDK, you can actually see how this has to be integrated onto an Android app. They have given few other options here. And the first thing is like you go into the go.noodle.io and create an account, and then get the generate the dev key and add your Maven repository. And then you can integrate your Noodle SDK dependency. So there is an option where you can actually have the Google Play services, and if you're going to install on a device which doesn't have Google Play services installed, then you can have this option, which is Play. It's like you don't have to depend on this Play Store services. And then run the Noodle SDK, and this is where you're actually going to put your developer key, which will connect your SDK to your account. And then they also given like both Java and Kotlin version of it. So if you're using both Java and Kotlin in your single Android app, you can still use this one. It's pretty easy. And this is the main thing, you have to request permissions, and this is all the manifest.permissions that you're going to add into your mobile app. And it's going to request permission for Bluetooth, internet, Bluetooth admin, and access course location and find location. And these permissions will actually show a prompt to the user and ask the user to give permissions. So if you're going to have this SDK on an app which is pretty much a complete offline app, the user is not going to be happy. And if it's an app like a dating app or something like that, which uses both location data as well as internet, then this is something the user may not really mind something. But still, I would suggest you always give a disclaimer stating that, we have integrated noodle.io to cover the cost of maintaining this app or something like that. That would help you, just as a disclaimer. And then so once that is all done, and then you can check your rewards. That's simple. So you go to your developer portal, and then you can keep checking like how many packets that you have sent and how much Noodle Cash that you have earned. And this is a sort of like a pretty straightforward process, and nothing too hard. Hope you liked it, guys, and we'll catch up again in another video. So if you are interested in integrating and testing this device, I think you can try it now and have a go with that. And if you got any BLE devices, you don't need to worry. If you have another Android phone, you can install a BLE mockup app, and you can use that as a test device, and it does the same thing. All right, so let's catch up again in another video, and thanks guys, and cheers.